Hi guys, that's Dustin here, and welcome to episode 4 of Class, Co-Owner of a Lonely Heart. This episode is my new favourite. It just keeps getting better. The Shadow King, oh my god, the climax, the cliffhanger, Raz's climax, it was just all so wow. That okay. I'm gonna start from the beginning. At the start of the episode, it showed April, who her heart is connected to the Shadow King, and it showed her sort of she's starting to join with the Shadow King, King. Oh, I'm never gonna say that right. And the Shadow King doing all he can to sort of separate himself from April in his realm, so it sort of switches between Earth and the Shadow King realm. Miss Krill's story about the new headmaster. They're sort of teaming up. I can't wait to see what the next. I'm betting it's not going to be solved in the next episode. What Miss Krill's sort of story is. I bet it's going to be in the one after. I don't actually know what the next episode's called. I'm just going to quickly go and get my phone to see if it's on Wikipedia yet. But okay, let's slow things down because I've just gone through a lot. Okay, so I'll talk about Miss Krill's and the new headmasters or mistresses story a bit first, because it's sort of the smallest bit, and then I'll move on to April's bit, which is the second sort of, well, the bigger bit. So Miss Krill, she and this new headmaster. In fact, no, I'll start with the new. I'm all over the place. I'm so excited about this one. This was a really good episode. Right, slow down. The headmaster, or the new headmistress. I don't actually know her name because I don't know if it was mentioned. But she seems to know somehow about Miss Krill's sort of origin. She knows that she's an alien, I think, and she knows that Charlie's an alien as well. I don't know how. I'm going to assume it's got something to do with the governor robot or the governors that were in the second episode, because she didn't actually destroy it, but she let the that dragon tattoo thing destroy the governor robot. So that's got something to do with it. And so I think the governors and the headmistress, or the new headmistress, are sort of working together. They are promising her if she helps the governors and the headmistress and that with their sort of plant crisis. It's sort of like the sub villain of the episode. So there's a Shadow King, and the sub villain are sort of these like little rose. I don't know what type of flower they are. Sort of petals that touch like not organic, because that's plants as well. I want to say living things, but living things are plants as well. Touch animals or humans, and they sort of feed on them, and then multiply, and then multiply, then multiply, and multiply. And if the head teacher tells Miss Krill, if Miss Krill helps them take out these petal things and stop that from happening, they might be able to help her get the little bug thing out of her brain or whatever it is, and give her her life back. Because obviously in the first episode it was explained that Miss Krill is under the control of Charlie because she's a criminal, or was a criminal, on Charlie's homeworld, and as punishment she now has to serve him forever. So that's sort of Miss Krill's storyline. I really want to know who the headmistress is, like what sort of organisation she's a part of. Is she one of the governors? I'm pretty sure she said. I don't know if she said that she actually was one of the governors or not. I want to know who the governors are as well. A lot of mystery going on in this episode. Okay, moving on to April's story. As I said at the start of the episode showed April sort of getting to grips with her and the Shadow King being one and the same. She thought she could control it at the start, and then things started getting a bit more physical. Her talking about the soldiers and how they're cowards. That speech was amazing. I wouldn't say it's as good. In fact, no, it's nowhere near as good as Peter Capaldi's speech from the Zygon incursion. But I think the speech that April did, well, not speech, but the conversation April had in that episode 4, had the same. It did the same thing as Peter Capaldi did. It sort of made their character and showed what their character could do. So what the actor could do. So Peter Capaldi showed what he brings to the Doctor Who role in that episode, like talking about the war, all that war stuff in his episode. I think this character really, I don't know the actress's name, but it really showed her capability to act in this episode. It was really good, and if I see acting like that from other actors in the series from this point on, I mean, they've already acted amazingly, but if I see more like that, I like a good speech. I love speeches. Like, I loved Matt Smith's Rings of whatever it was called, that episode of Doctor Who. I loved that speech, and I love Peter Capaldi's Zygon incursion speech. I love speeches. But yeah, it makes the character, you really get to know what the capacity of the actor is. Like, you know how good an actor is by the speech that they can give and the voice that they can give to that character. Anyway, after she's had a bit of a pop at the students and the war and talking about what it was like in war. Also, in an English lesson, I would have been the sort of person that would do that if I got really pissed off one day, because I hate English. I'll talk about that in another video. I think I've been saying that for a while now. Anyway, so Ram decides to take April home after she sees her dad. Her dad caused her mum to become paralysed from the waist down, so she's wheelchair ridden, and tried to kill himself, his daughter, and his wife. But obviously, as I just said, put his wife in a wheelchair, or ex-wife now, in a wheelchair, and then he got sent to prison. He came back, and that sort of made April very mad. She tried to kill him with her swords that she can make now for some reason. There's a lot of weird things from this episode that sort of annoy me, but I'll get to that a bit later. Like how, I'll quickly mention it now. What annoys me here is that she can make sort of like the Shadowkin weapons, like the swords, just out of the hand. Just because they like share hearts, doesn't mean that they should be able to like make physical objects. Maybe I'm thinking too far into this. As I said, I'll mention that a little bit later on in a bit more depth. What else is there? Oh yeah, and then April, and then Ram, after seeing April's dad, and they have a bit of a pop and swords and almost kills her dad the first time, Ram takes April home. Am I allowed to say what happens next on YouTube? I don't know if I'm allowed to say what happens. They make whoopee. No, fuck, I'm just gonna come out and say it. They have sex. They do. And then April's mother I would say walks in on them, but sort of rolls in on them, I suppose, because she's in a wheelchair. Sort of rolls in on them, and the conversation that Ram, April, and April's mother has in the scene just after she caught them in the act. Oh my god, was that funny as hell. That was one of the best scenes I've ever seen, ever. The mother just, I hope that you used, I think it was contraception that she said, I hope you used contraception, and April just went, oh god, sort of fell into her hands, like, Ram was like, don't worry, I had a condom. It was like, oh, you need to see that scene to just get a laugh out of it. It was just so good. Oh. Then after that, Ram leaves, April and her mum have a bit of a talk, her dad comes back. Oh no, there's also a third plot actually with Charlie and his boyfriend, who I still can't pronounce the name of. Yeah, I still can't pronounce the name of Charlie's boyfriend in the series. But yeah, the fact that I don't really get their story. maybe because I wasn't listening at that bit or something. Maybe I was typing at something else at that minute, but I didn't really understand sort of their sort of story. It was weird. Yeah, I just don't really know how to explain it. They he was sort of having a pop at him that all these things, all the souls of his people were left in the box in the cabinet, and his boyfriend was that's how I'm gonna reference him, just his boyfriend, because I honestly can't remember his name. Um, he just they were moaning that he didn't that everyone all of those souls in that box should be let go so that they can die peacefully. And then he was like, no, we can't do that because we can bring them back to life if you believe in these children tales and blah blah blah. I was like, okay then. So yeah, that's their story. And then right at the end, April has sort of a fight with the Shadowkin, sort of take control once and for all. Even though it wasn't once and for all, it's probably take it over in the next episode. Battle once and for all and almost kills her dad a second time. Hang on a minute, because the clip's about to end and I can only record my voice 15 minutes each time, so I'm going to have to put another clip here. Be out! Right, I'm back. As I was saying, one final battle with Shadowkin almost kills her dad, but then doesn't. So somehow the Shadowkin is alerted to her position, and she sort of alerted to his. And another thing that doesn't really make sense in this scene is like, it looked like a really cool scene. It was a really cool scene how she used the Shadowkin sword to rip a hole through sort of space itself and travel to the Shadowkin's realm. Looked really cool. Absolutely amazing scene. Loved it. Loved every second of it. But like, how did she know that would work? And how did that sword become strong enough to rip holes through time itself? I mean, I know that sort of the reality is a bit iffy in that area because so much Artron energy and all that. I think that's how they explained it in the first episode. But like, surely anyone like that sword was made out of stone. Surely if like I mean, in the first episode, I'm sure the Shadow King was swinging swords around left, right, and centre. Why weren't they punching holes in reality? Or if someone with a big stick swung it around, why wouldn't they punch a hole in reality? Because, I mean, it's like a stonish sword. It can't be that strong, surely. Anyway, she jumps into the portal, and then Ram follows her in there. And that was the end of the episode. Oh, and she sort of heals her mother's legs, because... just does. So, yeah. That's pretty much the full episode. I think that's all we have time for today. The next episode, I've just looked it up. The next episode is called Brave-ish Heart. I already like that name. So yeah, can't wait for that. So far, the next episode has been my favourite episode so far. So, Brave-ish Heart may take position of my next episode, favourite episode even. Yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. I know it was a bit all over the place. So I'm really sorry about that. It was just such a good episode, and so good. Excuse me. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I've been Silent Assassin. You've been yourselves, and yeah.